Palm Beach in Florida is one of America's top golf locations and has been the home of one of the game's greatest ever players for a number of years.
And Floyd playing a majestic iron.
Raymond Floyd won 66 professional tournaments in a career spanning 49 years.
Beautiful shot from Ray Floyd.
That haul included 4 major championships.
Oh, yeah. Just caught the edge, but what a fine putt. This man has got icy nerves in a crucial moment.
He also successfully captained America in the Ryder Cup.
Straight into the hole for a birdie for Floyd.
Before returning as a player to set a historic record.
The oldest man in the Ryder Cup ever and using all his experience.
I met the man himself at his home in Palm Beach. Raymond Floyd, thank you very much for joining me. It's an absolute honour to be with a 4-time major champion and World Golf Hall of Famer. As well as 22 PGA Tour victories, you also captured 4 major titles, 2 PGA Championships, a Masters and a US Open. Do you ever wish you could have swapped one of those PGAs for a claret jug?
Well, looking back, if someone said, was there anything you missed in your career, it was the British Open. I never really thought about it playing. I kind of thought that I had the ability to win it, but I never did. I go to bed and sleep very well not having won, but certainly if there was one thing, I'd love to have won a British Open without question.
So moving on to the Ryder Cup, congratulations on being appointed one of Tom Watson's vice captains. You must be very excited to take on that role. That
is very exciting for me to be removed from that tour for so long and then to be invited to be an assistant captain is very, very, very special. I'm excited and I'm looking forward to being a part of it again.
Why do you think he chose you?
He said because of what I bring to the table and what my winning attitude, my easiness of getting along with players, my personality, and as he said, my mental toughness. He thinks that will help the team. And of course, Tom will make all the decisions. Certainly, there's Andy and I. We will discuss. We're on the phone now. We're already talking about things, but it'll be discussed, but it's Tom's decision.
So the last time that you played in a Ryder Cup was a very significant year, wasn't it? It was 1993. Tom Watson was captain for the first time. It was in Europe, and it was the last time the Americans won on European soil. How much will Tom be drawing on the experience from that event?
Well, I think we'll probably all draw on a lot of it, and of course, at 51, I was an unusual pick, and I also won the winning point. I think that was all a part of Tom. He picked me, which was a bit controversial at age 51, and now he's picked me as an assistant to him. So I think he's got a great deal of confidence in me, and that will make me have a better feeling going in and dealing with the situation.
It's funny because you had captained the team yourself 4 years previously in 1989. Did you think that your playing days were gone, and it was a bit of a surprise to get that pick from Tom in '93?
Well, I got picked in '91 as well. That was the year of the War on the Shore, which I played with Fred Couples, and we did very well as a team. So I had 2 great experiences after I was long in the tooth, if you would.
What do you think the PGA of America were trying to say by bringing Tom back to the helm for 2014? There seems to be a lot of pressure on him to deliver a second time round.
I think the PGA made a brilliant decision. I was certainly surprised when I heard that Tom was named captain, and I called him immediately and said, you know, the PGA of America has made a brilliant decision. What a great, thoughtful decision. You know, we have had it handed to us in these last 20 years, to speak. We've been overwhelmed by the European side, and the PGA of America wants to bring that cup back. And especially after getting trounced on Sunday at Medina 2 years ago to lose, it's important to get the winning combination together. And I think picking Tom was the right guy at the right time.
You said yourself a bit earlier that you haven't been out on tour for a while now. What do you say to the critics who think that Tom's building a team around him that aren't in touch with today's players?
Oh, we're all in touch with the game. I watch television golf. I look at the statistics. I see players. There's so many tour players here in this area. I mean, I've got 4 of them living here on the grounds. I see players at the Masters. I see players at the U.S. Open. So I'm still, even though I say I'm removed and haven't been there, I might not know the player personally, these younger players, but I know who they are and how they're playing, and I know they know who I am. So I don't think it'll be an issue.
You've also been vice captains before. Paul Azinger's year was one of them in 2008 at Valhalla, which was also the last year that the Americans won. How different is it being a vice captain to a captain, and what did you learn from your time under Paul?
When I was captain, we didn't have vice captains. Paul, he had 3 vice captains. We all sat together and conferred and gave our opinion. Of course, Paul made the final decision, but that's highly beneficial. Also, you can be around the practice so much more. One captain going out and trying to watch 3 matches in practice is not nearly as effective as 3 people out watching, and then you put the input together. And even the one-on-one with the players that seems a little bit edgy or uncomfortable, you can put them at ease. There's so many things with the assistant captain that can help a captain. It's highly beneficial.
Boys, I'll remember this forever.
You famously said in '89 when you were captain at the opening ceremony that you had what you believed were the 12 greatest players in the world. We all know that ruffled some feathers on the European side. Was that purely tactics?
That was a plagiarized statement. I got that from Ben Hogan. When he was the captain, he used that line and said, "I'd like to present you the best 12 players in the world." But my team, to me, I had 6 new players. I think my 6 players at that time weren't sure they should have been there. And here we are in a room of 1,000 people, and I have to get up and introduce my team. When I left the hotel going to the event, I said to Maria, I said, "You know what, I'm going to wake my team up tonight." And she said, "What do you mean?" And I said, "I'm going to use Ben Hogan's line. I'm going to introduce them as the 12 best players in the world. That's going to get their attention. It'll wake them up." And I think it did wake them up. That was the intent of my statement.
What kind of a captain do you think Paul McGinley will make against Tom?
A guy with a great personality, and they don't pick guys that they don't think will do well, and I think he'll do very nicely.
But Tom's ready, right?
Tom's ready.
Perfect, Raymond Floyd. It's been an absolute pleasure. You're about to add something else to your illustrious career history. Thank you for talking to us.
Thank you for having me.